Okay, for our DeltaMath for today, I wanted to first make sure everyone has either a piece of scratch paper in front of them or, I just grabbed a piece of scratch paper, but you guys could use your spiral notebook. So let's take a look at one of the problems that could be assigned today. What is an equation of a line that passes through the points 4, -3 and 2, -4? So I'm going to take my scratch paper and I'm going to write down 4, -3. And I'm going to write down, I already forgot what the other one was. It is 2, -4. 2, -4. Okay, we learned this in lesson 5.3, but in case you forgot, first thing you're going to have to do is calculate the slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So -4 minus -3 is y2 minus y1. 2 minus 4 is x2 minus x1. So -4 minus -3, use your calculator please. I think that is -1. And then 2 minus 4 is -2. And now remember that if you have a negative over a negative, the whole thing becomes positive. So my slope is 1/2, which means I am half done with my problem because I need my m and I need my b. And right now, I don't know what my b is, but I know what my m is. It's 1/2. So here's how to figure out the rest. We are going to do y equals mx plus b. And we're going to fill in what we know, which right now, all we know is our slope is half. So our slope is half. Now, you cannot solve an equation with a missing y, x, and b, so what we're going to do is we're going to borrow an x and a y. You can either borrow this set or this set, but you can't take this x but yet this y. You can't mix and match. So I'm going to go with my first set. 4 is my x, -3 is my y. Okay, now we have everything except b. So we're just going to solve it. It is a two-step equation. This should go very fast for you. Half times 4 is the same thing as half of 4. Half of 4 is 2. Bring down everything else. To get b by itself, you have to get rid of +2 by subtracting it on both sides. -3 minus 2 is -5. So now I know that b is -5. So instead of this question mark, I know that it is -5. So I'm going to put together, now that I know my m and my b, in an entire equation, and we're going to call it y equals half x minus 5. This is how to do these problems. So I'm going to go type it in. I hope this is showing you my whole screen. You're going to have to type y equals half x, I think you get a fraction on there by doing the division button, minus 5. Submit, yes, and it's correct. Okay, that's how to do them all when they have a diagonal slope. Now, really quick reminder, if you don't have a diagonal slope, so like if I go to next problem, you might have one that ends up with a horizontal slope. We looked at this during your notes, but that would be when your y coordinate is the same. So if I have 7, -3, and then I already forgot what the other number was. -8, 3. Oh, -3. If you have the same y, you need to picture what that's going to look like on a graph. 7 down -3, -8 down -3. This is going to end up being, well, if my line was straight, this is going to end up being a horizontal line which has a slope of 0 every time. Anytime you have any horizontal line, I don't care where it's at, on the y-axis, as long as it's horizontal, it will end up being a 0 slope. So if your y's are the same, it is a 0 slope. Okay, so let's go back in and type in y equals -3 because your y is -3, which is what gives it that. Actually, let me go back and make sure you understand that. It would hit right here, -3. So that's my y-intercept, which is -3. It's a 0 slope, but to write an equation for it, it's y equals -3 because your y is -3 on both. Okay, and then if you get one that is a vertical slope, that's going to be where your x's are the same. So 2, -4, 2, 6. So 2, -4, 2, 6. If you picture the 2 being both of the x's, let's picture where that's at on a graph. 2, -4 would be to the right 2, down 4. And 2, 6 would be to the right 2, up 6. So this is going to be an undefined line, and it never hits the y-axis. So an undefined line is an example of an x equals graph. So all it is x equals a number, just like it was y equals a number was my equation here, because both y's equaled -3. Both x's in this case equal 2. So this is going to be an x equals 2. So if it is horizontal, it's a y equals whatever your y is. If it's vertical, it's an x equals whatever your x is. And if it's a diagonal, you're going to have to actually calculate it out. Find your m, borrow an ordered pair to plug it in to find your b, and then put it all together when you have your m and your b.